So for when you have a little bit more time, 30-minute, well-rounded, rigorous practice, so you can get it all in 30 minutes. So we're going to start in child's pose. Janice and Papo. Again, no props are necessary for this one. So just start in child's pose with your arms out in front of you, shoulder distance apart. And then walk them out far enough that your elbows are straight. They're both being defiant. They're not doing it. And then once your elbows are straight, spread your fingers wide. Anchor your hands down strongly. Make sure that it's all the way into the fingertips as much as the heel of your hand, and inner and outer. Get that rebounding up of the length of your arm, and then rolling your inner arms up to the ceiling. Now from here, with really straight arms, just lift your hips up enough to curl your toes under and push your hips back into downward facing dog. And then just straight legs for the moment. Keep pressing the floor down. Always line up your heels, your knees to your second toe. It's very important to me. I talk about it all the time, but it's really what you need to do for your lower back and a lot of other things long term. Right, step your right foot just a few inches forward of your left. Put a generous bend in your left knee. Straighten your right leg all the way out. And then same thing, sending your knee, your heel, all tracking with your second toe. And your right hip might want to jut out to the side a little, like you're waiting at a truck stop for something, but hug your right hip in. I don't know what you'd be waiting for. Step your right foot back. Step your left foot a little forward. Okay, bend your right knee, straighten your left. If you don't need to bend your right knee, you can keep it straight as well. But this is just to eliminate both sets of hamstrings having to stretch at the same time. Makes it a little easier. And keep pressing the floor away from you with your hands. Keep sending your pelvis up and back, away at the same angle that your hands are reaching. And now step your left leg back. Inhale, come on forward into plank pose. Big breath to get there. Knees straight, chest wide, and keep pressing the floor down. And now exhale, push yourself up and back into downward facing dog. We're just going to keep moving with the breath on that. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, push yourself up and back. Another time, inhale, long breath to come forward. And then exhale, up and back to downward facing dog. Okay? This time, inhale, come forward. Look forward, shift your shoulders past your wrists a couple of inches. And breathe in. Exhale, bend your elbows towards chaturanga. You can always drop your knees or bend your elbows less if you need to in order to maintain plank. Hold. Take an extra breath. Push the floor away from you and inhale to plank. And then exhale, press yourself up and back to downward facing dog. Walk your hands all the way back until they meet your feet. Grab your elbows, hang yourself forward for a moment. And you put any amount of bend in your knees that tips the front of your pelvis up and over until this frontal hip points hit your thighs. And then grab your elbows, just let them feel really heavy. So you're constantly making a little more space between the top of your pelvis and the sides of your rib cage. Good. And then release your fingertips down. Inhale, pull your chest forward, widen your collarbones. Exhale, squeeze your hips together and bring your hands to your hips. And then inhale, come all the way up to standing. Okay, step up to the front of your mat. Bring your feet together. Release your arms down to your sides for today. Firm your legs, so fronts, the backs, the inside, outside edges. And then inhale, reach your arms up alongside your ears. And exhale, fold forward from your hips. Keep pulling your sternum away from your hip crease on the way down. Inhale, chest wide, look forward. Exhale, step yourself into plank. Good. Once you're in plank, breathe in, shift forward, exhale, chaturanga. Flip your toes, inhale to up dog or cobra. Either one is perfectly fine. Keep your legs really straight and active. And then exhale, press yourself from your hips again back into downward facing dog. Okay, quicker than usual today. I don't often move quickly, but we're trying to fit a lot into 30 minutes. So look forward, bend your knees, hop or step your feet to meet your hands. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold back down. Inhale, come all the way up. As your arms come up, roll the outer part of them forward. Exhale, hands together in front of your heart. And again, inhale, reach up. Big exhale, fold forward. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step or hop, chaturanga. If you're going to hop, arms bend in the air, land in chaturanga. Nice, Janice. Inhale to up dog. We're silent. Exhale, push back into downward facing dog. And then look forward, see your hands, and hop your feet around your hands. Hoi, Surprise, right? Turn your heels in a little, your toes out, and squat yourself down into Malasana. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Okay, so if your heels don't hit the mat, you can roll the front edge of your mat up, put it underneath of your heels. Right? Firm your arms and your knees together, keeping the center of your kneecap, center of your heel, second toe in one line, and then widen your chest through your arms. But keep that little lift of the front of your pelvis up away from the floor so your tailbone lengthens and your lower back isn't arching. Good. And then from here, straighten your legs out, hands to the floor. Heel toe your feet in until they're hip distance apart. Inhale, pull your chest forward, look forward. Exhale, hands to your hips. And inhale, come all the way up to standing. Slide your feet all the way together. Release your arms down to your sides. Inhale, reach your arms up alongside your ears. Good. Exhale, fold forward and down. Inhale, chest wide, look forward. And then exhale, step back into plank. Okay, pull plank. And once you're there, pick your right foot up an inch or two. Okay, take a breath in. And then exhale, bring your right knee to the back of your right tricep, just like you were just doing at the front of your mat. Okay, keep your shoulders square, elbows straight, push the floor away from you. As you drag the thigh up towards your outer ribs, hollow the lower part of your belly up towards your spine. And now bring your knee to your nose. Step your right foot through, spin your back heel down, line up your front heel with your back arch, squeeze your right hip under your body to keep it tracking with your knee, and then cartwheel open into Warrior Two. And once you're up in Warrior Two, if you need to lengthen out your stance because you came from the ground, you can always widen your feet. Okay? Anchor your back leg, same action as you were doing in plank. And then once your right hip, the center of your right kneecap, your right heel, and second toe are all facing straight forward or parallel to the side of your mat, whichever makes more sense. Leave them there and steer your chest square to the side of your mat. And then you don't have your shoulder touching your knee like you did in that squat, but firm your inner right thigh as if it was still there. For some of you who are a little tighter, it will make it want to buckle in. Keep your knee tracking straight ahead. And then eyes steady and bend a little further into your front knee. Keep pulling the right side of your pelvis up away from the floor as you bend your knee so that your pelvis stays level from left to right away from the floor. And then calm breath. Even though it's very tempting to, at least my breath goes crazy here. It's as if I'm hyperventilating sometimes. But as my teacher said, I've never seen death by Warrior Two. Janice didn't think that was funny today. One more breath. And then exhale, hands to the mat. Good. Step into plank pose and pause there. Okay. Pick your left foot up. Breathe in and then exhale. Left knee, left tricep. Pull it in. Okay. Shoulders square. Keep pressing the floor down, but keep your collarbones wide. Try to guide the knee a little higher up towards your outer shoulder, the inner thigh towards your outer ribs, belly in and up. Good. And then knee to your nose. Step your foot through. Heel to arch, hip under, and cartwheel on an inhale, open into Warrior Two. And then once you're up, back knee straight, anchoring your back foot, leaving that alone. Pull your hip under, your knee open until all of those points are in one line, and then leave them there. Imagine your shoulder was next to your knee, firm into it, so your inner thighs are working too. And then bend a little further. Peel the front of your pelvis up, the left hip up. You're overdoing it a little. You can actually drop that down. Yeah. Okay, chest square to the side. Steady eyes, steady breath. Good. And then exhale, take your hands down to the mat. Take yourself through a vinyasa this time, all the way back into downward facing dog. Good. And then inhale, come on forward into plank pose, shoulders over your wrists. Pick your right foot up, and this time exhale, bring your right knee to your nose, pull it in. And I know I've always taught knee to nose, but there's no poses where you actually look at your knee. So look forward at your hands, but keep all the rest of those actions, belly, thigh, all pulling up to the ceiling. Good, and then step your right foot through. Spin your back heel down. This time pivot yourself a quarter turn to the left, turn both of your feet to face the side of your mat, and then parallel them off with straight legs. Okay, and then from here, fingertips under your shoulders. Balance the weight evenly in your feet. Pull your chest forward for a breath. And then exhale, fold yourself forward any amount more without letting your upper back round. If you can walk your hands back without rounding your back, then do, and set your arms up like chaturanga. Okay. Lift up through your thighs. The same muscles you were just using to pull your right knee into your nose are the same ones that in both legs will fold you from your hips. Add a little effort of the lower belly hollowing, but then chest wide. Come up onto your fingertips. Inhale, chest forward. And then exhale, walk yourself a quarter turn to the right so you're back in that high lunge. Step back into plank. And then once you're in plank, hold. Pick your left foot up. Exhale. Do knee to nose. Pull it all the way in. Sometimes it makes it a little easier. Shoulders back. And then look forward, but keep pulling the thigh up. Find your hip flexor to bring the thigh up. Little lower belly. Good. Step your foot through. Spin your back heel down, and then pivot to the right, quarter turn. This time, come up onto your fingertips. Interlace your fingers behind your back, and then exhale, fold yourself up and over. And as you fold up and over, making sure your chest stays wide, you're firming now both thighs, lifting up towards the crease of your hips, folding your pelvis forward towards your thigh bones, arching between your shoulder blades until your upper back flattens out. And if you need to come up a little higher, do. Good. And then release your hands down to the floor. Inhale, chest forward. And then exhale, pivot around to the left, back to a lunge. And this time, once you're in plank, take a vinyasa through to down dog. And look forward at your hands. Bend your knees. Step or hop your feet all the way up to meet them. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, bend your knees. Sit back into chair pose. Reach your arms up. Good. Exhale, push up and stand up. And bring your hands together in front of your heart. Okay. Inhale, bend your knees. Sit back into chair. Exhale, fold forward. Then straighten your legs out. Inhale, pull your chest forward, look forward, and then exhale, step your left leg back into a high lunge. Right? Inhale, come on up into crescent pose. Reach all the way up. Put a decent bend in your back knee. Get the frontal hip points to rise up until you just have that natural curve you would usually have in your lower back. Hold your front knee, face it dead ahead, and then pin your outer hips in place and push your back leg a little straighter. Good, chest up. And then exhale, hands down to your mat. Step yourself back into plank pose. Okay. Once you're in plank pose, pick your right foot up again. This time, exhale, bring your right knee across to your left arm and take a twist. Keep looking forward again. If your left heel tilts a little towards the right side of your mat, that's fine. From your upper back, revolve, bringing your knee across towards your outer shoulder. Okay, now bring that knee into your nose and step your foot through. Okay. This time, leave your left fingertips on the ground. Chest wide, twist to the right, and reach your right arm straight up over top of your left. Good. Wrap your left shoulder back away from your ear. Firm your back knee straight. Make sure it doesn't feel like you're dipping your left hip down, turning that into a back bend. Feel the back leg as if it was in plank. Good. Turn your top palm, reach your top arm up and over alongside your ear. And as it comes over, every inch you take it overhead, a little more and a little more wrapping of your tricep towards the side of the room. Good. And then exhale, step yourself back into plank from here and pause once you're in plank. Okay, and then once you're in plank, exhale, push yourself back into downward facing dog. Okay. And then look up at your hands, bend your knees, step or hop to the front. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, full forward fold. Inhale, bend your knees, sit back into chair pose. Good, and then exhale, fold forward again, straighten your legs out. Inhale, chest through your arms, look up. And then exhale, step your right leg way back, high lunge. Inhale, rise all the way up into crescent pose, reaching up through the sides of your body. Okay, so always easier to get your pelvis and your lower back well aligned. If you put that little bend in your back knee, it'll allow you the access to drag the front of your pelvis up. And then you hold it in place by squeezing your outer hips together and then pushing your back knee a little straighter. Right? Outer arms forward, and then reach them up so that you get that same width from your rib cage away from your pelvis. Good. Exhale, hands down to your mat. Step back into plank pose. Pause in plank. pick your left leg up. Exhale, left knee, right tricep, find the twist. Okay, so feel where the work is coming from across your abdomen. If your heel tilts a little, the right heel to the left a little, that's okay. If it gets you into the twist a little further. Good, bring your knee to your nose, pull it in, step your foot through, come up onto your right fingertips, firm your back knee straight, twist to the left, and reach your left arm straight up. Like you were just doing in crescent, once you've got your back knee straight and the leg feeling as if it's in plank, you can hold the work, squeeze your hips together, it'll stabilize you. Then you can turn the work into what's happening in your upper back, little arch there. And then take your top arm, wrap the tricep, reach it up and over. Keep your right shoulder away from your ear, so turn your bicep to the front of your mat. And then rotating just from your upper back, right around your shoulder blades, that's the part of your spine that twists best. Good, you two. And then exhale, left hand down to the mat, step back into plank, and this time take a vinyasa, chaturanga. Inhale to your back bend, and exhale, back into downward facing dog. Okay. A little bit of sun salutation B, we have time for it. So look forward, bend your knees, step or hop to the front. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold forward and down. Inhale, bend your knees, sit back into chair pose, take your arms up. Exhale, press to standing, bring your hands together, mountain pose. Right, Surya Namaskar B, inhale, sit back, chair pose. Exhale, fold forward and down. Inhale, chest through your arms. Exhale, chaturanga. You can always step if you'd like. Inhale, back bend of up dog or cobra. And then exhale, push back, downward facing. Step your right foot forward. This time spin your back heel down. Inhale, come on up into warrior one. Make sure your back foot is anchored and your knee stays straight. And then exhale, take your hands down and go slowly through the vinyasa on your breath. If you get to a point where you're losing the alignment, you're losing your breath, leave out the vinyasas between here. Okay, step your left foot forward. Inhale, come up on your breath to warrior one. Being mindful of your back leg's alignment, straight knee, foot planted. And then exhale, hands down, with or without a vinyasa, end up back in downward facing dog. Good. Even breath, just a few of them. Just 3 today instead of 5. Gotta keep it rigorous. Papa laughed. He's still laughing. Look forward, bend your knees, step or hop to the front. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold back down. Inhale, bend your knees, sink back into chair pose. And exhale, rise to standing, hands together. One more time, Surya B. Inhale, sit back. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, Ardha. Exhale, chaturanga. Okay. Inhale, back bend. Reach your toes back. Exhale, fold to down dog. And when you're ready, right side warrior one, with or without a vinyasa, and then do the left side as well, ending up in down dog after that. And try to stay with your breath, letting the length of that dictate how long the transitions take. The longer it takes, the stronger you get. I know it's very tempting to rush, but nobody ever got stronger using momentum, sadly. And then once you're back in down dog, pause again. All right, walk your hands all the way back to meet your feet. Slide your feet all the way together. Inhale, pull your chest forward. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, bend your knees, sink your hips back into chair pose at the back of your mat. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart and twist to the right. Hook your left elbow across your right knee. Find that same lower body stability you were doing in crescent and the low lunge twist, knees parallel, hips hugging together, chest wide, and twist from your upper back like you were doing that knee to opposite tricep in plank. Right? Inhale, chair pose, reach up. Hands to your heart, exhale the other side, twist it. Stay steady, long, even breath. The last standing pose you're going to do, and then we'll do a little bit of back bending and some cool down. Back into your heels. Make sure your belly is away from your thighs, your hip points away from your thighs as well. Good. Exhale, fold forward, straighten your legs. Inhale, widen your chest. Exhale, walk all the way out into downward facing dog. And then once you're there, it's up to you. You can stay in down dog and hold that for a couple of breaths, or you can take one final vinyasa before we do the rest of our back bends and practice. Okay. Look forward, past your hands, and hop or step through. Lie down on your back, bend your knees, and position your feet hip distance apart. Okay, so bring your heels up so they feel like they're underneath your knees, arms alongside of you. And then wiggle your shoulders underneath of your arms. Have your arms right alongside your torso. Because we're going to do a little more rigorous, we're going to work from our legs. So my teacher always called them robot arms, and I never knew what he meant. But look, robot arms. Bend your elbows. Turn your palms to face one another. Have your upper arms parallel with one another. So hug these in a little more. Good. All right, now push your feet down. Push your arms down. Inhale, lift your hips up away from the floor. Good. Wiggle the tops of your shoulders under a little more. Push from elbow to upper shoulder. Inner and outer edge of your foot. Balls of your feet. Heel of your foot. Lift your hips from the outside edges of your pelvis a little bit higher. Good. Exhale, lower your hips all the way down. Straighten your arms all the way out. Pause. And we do 2 more bridge poses. This time you get to use your whole arm. It's harder with robot arms. I don't know why. Robots wouldn't seem like they would think bridge pose was harder. And now lift your hips up away from the floor. They're robots after all. Wiggle your shoulders under. Interlace your fingers this time. If it's difficult to get your arms together or to keep them grounded on the mat, grab the edges of your mat instead. And just because you're not doing robot arms doesn't mean you're not going to work from your legs the same way, work from your outer upper shoulder the same way. Think about continually moving the back bend into the upper portion of your spine, pushing that part of your upper spine through towards your chest and your chest towards your chin. Good. And then separate your arms apart and lower yourself all the way back down. Uno más, por favor. One more time, couple breaths here, only a couple, or it's that point of no return where you never go back up again. So ready, set, inhale, come on up. Once you're up, shoulders under, interlace, 8 breaths. Stay with your alignment. Stay present with what you're doing there mentally. Stay steady with your breath. All things happening in the present moment. All great things to concentrate on. Good, you too. After your 8th breath, arms apart and lower yourself down. No rush to get there, so let your breath be steady and even until you reach the final one. Jen's like, let me down, let me down. She's trying to, she wants to hyperventilate and breathe really fast. And once you come all the way down, just knock your knees together. Okay. And just take a couple of breaths there. And for this last portion, because it's a little bit of a quicker practice, start to turn your attention inward. And you can begin that with just closing your eyes the whole time. And then hug your knees into your chest. Okay, start with a little soft hug, and then you can take it a little tighter and a little tighter as you feel ready. And you can rock side to side or forward to back. But remember that when you're moving, you're encouraging more activity in your body, and it might be harder to hold still in Shavasana if you do that. So just be mindful that being still right here will help you be still at the end. And then cross your right thigh all the way over top of your left. So you can put your feet on the floor and start there, and then thigh over thigh, and just hug that in to start with. Now if that's already stretching your glutes once you hug that in, so the backs of your hips, then you can just stay with your knees hugged in. Hug them in, Papa. If it's not quite stretching yet, flex your ankles all the way. Grab your shins over top with your hands or underneath. Either one is fine. And then spin your feet out to the sides of your mat and up towards your shoulders. So Papa's going to stay here because if he starts to spin his feet, his knees will come apart. But Janice has the glute flexibility right now to be able to take her feet a little wider. There's no good or bad with this. It's just where are you getting a little bit of a stretch for the things that we were engaging in the standing poses. And now start to just Soften into whatever discomfort is in your hip. As long as it's not injurious, it's just discomfort that will pass either as you breathe or once the pose is over. So using your powers of concentration on your breath to just be comfortable in a place of discomfort. And then uncross that side and take the other. And then right away, once it's hugged in, hold still again and start to watch your breath moving in and out. When you lose focus of that, start again. And then uncross that and just give your knees one final squeeze into your chest. And when you're ready, still do Shavasana, even though it's a shorter practice. Stretch your legs out in front of you and set up into Shavasana. Arms and legs nice and wide, eyes closed. And then it's your job to hold your body still so that it can rest. And to try to put the effort into concentrating your mind on something in the present moment. And frankly, just the most tangible item that's always there is your breath. And it's work to do that. This pose does have work in it. You're learning to focus your mind. Eventually, you'll learn to do other things with it. But for now, just learning to focus it on your inhale as it moves in. Know that it's happening. On your exhale as it moves out. Know that that's happening as it does. And when you forget, go back and begin again. Those things will make for a rest. Shavasana. Take a couple of deeper breaths. Guide your attention to each one as it happens. And when you feel ready to move, make your way back up to seated however you'd like to get there. Sit up tall. And come back to stillness with your eyes closed. And be proud you get on your mat and that you worked so hard. Even though it was a short practice, it was a really, really rigorous one. So proud that you did it. Join your hands together in front of your heart. Final breath, inhale, and exhale, let your head bow. And lift your head back up, open your eyes. Namaste.